Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the Block 9 podcast. And let's just say, how do we put it? Today at the Toughsheet Community Stadium was exactly that for Argyle. After a bright start for about the first 20 minutes, where it's fairly even between both sides, and we're thinking, this could be an interesting game. Argyle then concede, and it's what usually happens, unfortunately. With that, we then sort of lose our heads and we don't pick ourselves back up from it. Really difficult one. 0 shots on target, 3 actually attempts in the whole game, clearly highlighting more so than Barnsley that lack of a target man. Also, not so good news on the striker and his target man we're after from the post-match presser, but look, we're still here tonight. I'm sure a lot of you have got some thoughts on this. Please put them in the comments. Tonight, though, because we got Carl, who also went to the game, Herbie, Harvey are also up there. You've just got the 3 of us. So look, we'll do our best to digest that and give some thoughts, but absolutely get your thoughts in the comments. Steve, I can see you in there evening. Shane Harris as well is on his way back, M5 southbound, and Ninja Matt. Good evening, mate. So evening, Gavin, evening, Andy. It's not the start we wanted, Gavin, is it? But I mean, give a brief synopsis from you to kick us off.
Interesting, to say the least. Nice pattern to play. I think to sum it up, I'll sum it up and then I'll go backwards. This last 2 displays have been, if I can use 2 words to describe them, it's Callum Wright. Lots of endeavour, lots of running around, a nice flop with an Alice band, no end product, 0, zip, nada, likeable, but no end product. Very, very poor. 20 minutes, good stuff. We seem to play these patterns of play, sort of triangles, and then switching the play down the line really well. It all looks very entertaining. But unfortunately, we're a bit of a blunt obstacle up front. And we've got a back 4 that should never be a back 4, in my opinion. I think today's compounded that issue with having 3 centre-backs playing, 1 left-back, and 1 in the middle of a 2 who aren't capable of playing in a 2. So we're either going to have to change that or change the personnel. Midfield at times were okay, but it was not great. And I think I said last week privately that there's been lots of chats with TC saying, this squad doesn't have a hangover from a relegation and all that good stuff. Twice we've conceded and the heads have gone straight off. And today it was palpable, I think. And there's 6, I think, of last year's squad starting today. Saranola, Paulson, Such, Galloway, Mumba, and one more. Who's the
Saranola?
And I said Saranola.
Sorry.
I think there were 6 starting, maybe 5, but all of them had that same old feeling every night, to quote the song. And down we went. And I think the first goal was just poor defending. You block the run, don't you? If you're a savvy centre half that plays international football, I think Ashby De La Zouche could do better. I think he can come out for the cross, or he can certainly stick a firm wrist to the ball and try and deflect it over, but to do neither is a bit sad. And the second goal, Galloway just gets absolutely burnt out by what looks to be one of the most exciting wide midfield players in the division. Out sprinted, and then Galloway and Such look at each other, and Paulson and Such look at each other. Both don't pick up the man running in, and he finishes, which is good stuff from there. And from then on, we huffed and puffed a little bit, but didn't blow any houses down. And then I think kind of coasted the last 20 minutes, didn't they? And we brought on some subs. Tegan Finn looked okay. Patterson needs to start next game. He's the only man with ability on the park. All in all, it was a very pleasurable 3 till 5:47 or whatever the game finished. So I'm happy I took part in that.
So, Andy, I mean, it's not it's not a pleasant one, is it? And even driving back, I sort of said at halftime that it was a good start for that 20 minutes, and you could see some opportunities. But yeah, I mean, unlike Barnsley, where Watts had that freedom up front, got into places. Amiechi was brought into the game. He was non-existent really today, and obviously was taken off in the second half. Watts wasn't able to really sort of be able to pass. He received the ball a lot and held it up, but didn't move it on. It's a disappointing one, and we've got to try and make sure then that we deal with this. And we'll come on to a bit more about the post-match comments and stuff as well in a minute, but and start sorting it out, because it's just a horrible away defeat. Just that jinx just seems to continue.
Yeah, I mean, looking at PAFC King there, the only positive was Tegan Finn when he came on, give us a bit more up front. But disappointing, really disappointing in the team as a whole. I don't know why he dropped Wiridu, whether he just thinks that he could have been made an early scapegoat for a booking or whatever. He didn't want to risk it. I don't know. He had to make that decision. He had to change it about a bit, and it's failed really. I mean, we looked. It sounded. I listened on the radio. I switched off, and the second goal went in. It sounded awful, and that there's a chance early on in the game. Mumba, he puts it in the net. It's 1-0 to us, but we're limited, aren't we? We're very limited in all parts of the field. And Peppel, trying his hardest up front on his own. Inexperienced, just was playing National League last season. Stepped up's a big step up,
Yeah, I think. Let me just switch to this view. I think. Yeah, it's a tough one. I'm tired. I've actually poured a gin, G&T, but drink responsibly, of course, everybody.
Especially if you're driving on the M5, don't drink.
Yeah, no, of course. Shane Harris, I hope you're not driving. I know.
Yeah, Carl, don't do the death, mate, will you?
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, just sort of a long day. I went up to Gloucester to pick up the kids after being a week with the grandparents, and then coming straight back. And I managed to sustain the signal. Not that it was really worth it in the end. But yeah, no, look, I think looking at the comments we've got in here, Steve, all evening, mate. Lack of quality in all areas of the field, although, yes, the only positive was Tegan Finn. Watts has also been noted by Marcus in there, which I wouldn't totally disagree with. Dean coming in, that Bolton header, you're not stopping that with the pace and the connection. Obviously, a Bolton fan. It was a great header, that's for sure. I think he should have still at least got his hand to it. We'll come on to that a bit more as I'm just going back through the comments. Ninja Matt, how many do we need, guys, and where? For me, we need at least 5. Yes, Matt, I did see your post earlier. Just a Jana evening. I think we've just used to being in the relegation zone. Yeah, sort of cleverly half hinted to that, but let's not forget there's still a decent amount of players that weren't part of that. PAFC King, we are sinking faster than the Titanic. I fear relegation looms. Yeah, I can understand that, mate. Kenny Pester, we still have our defence of our relegated squad. Their default reaction is to drop their heads, and of course Katic and Talavirov were key to that. And probably papered over the cracks to a degree. It's Matt that we've also got in, who's a Bolton fan as well. So evening to you guys coming in. So look, I think we'll start as we always do after our little introductions, and we go to our slide deck, which was painful, working in the past hour. Let's get into it. So we know that obviously the score, just to remind us all Argyle fans, and for the joy of you Bolton fans watching us, it was 2-0 goals, Toll on 21 and Burstow on 61. So we just talked a little bit in the brief synopsis that the guys gave, and we've sort of pit these down into thoughts in the slide deck. So defensive struggles, like we touched upon, there was a lack of quality control. Felt communication breakdowns were there a little bit again. That sort of absence of that key centre-back loan as well, which didn't obviously materialise for one reason or another at the moment. Sort of raising more questions about what's going on in the recruitment. Equally, Gavin, we said when we were putting this slide together that Hammond is probably not helping, and I don't want to target him significantly in this, but as SBWFC has put in the comments, sort of Bolton fan, that keeper for you today was so poor. Expected better from Caleb Watson, Mumba too. First half, I thought, Mumba was all right, but then teetered off. So starting from that back line with the keeper, not coming out, not really commanding his box. Still think it was a great header. Should have probably got his hand to it at least. And we had this with Grimshaw to a degree, didn't we, Gavin? And it unsettled the defence, and we ended up conceding and leaking a lot.
I think that the challenge is as a centre back or as a back four. If you've got a demanding keeper, Cooper was very good at this. I think Hazard's become very good at this. He'll command his box, but he'll also come out of his box and play that sweeper role. And if you look at keeper v keeper today, Bolton's keeper was very good at commanding his box, but he was even better actually at sniffing out balls over the top where Pepple was running on or Caleb Watts was running on, and before we could get to it, he was putting it into the top row of the stand. And unfortunately, I think there must be some kind of bungee cord on De La Zouch's post linked to him, because he doesn't get beyond the 6-yard box, which he hasn't come. He come for the second corner actually, thinking off memory, and he got his hand to that one, and it went sort of wide, and then it snuffled out to nothing. The first one, he roots himself to the spot. Powelson, I think, just offers him as a bit of a ramp so he can get clearly up to the header toll, and then he hits it with reasonable pace. I wouldn't say it was a bullet header, but it's reasonable pace, and it goes in. If you're a back four playing with a keeper that you trust, then when he's coming, then you play better, right? I'm not saying he's bad with his feet, because actually I thought his distribution today at times was really good. De La Zouch, he hit an early ball to Mumba cross field, was right to his feet, about 55 or 60 yards. So, credit where it's due, but he's not a big talker. We saw that at Torquay, because we were literally in the goal net, weren't we, where we were sat, 2 yards beyond the goal. He's not a talker, so he isn't commanding his box. He isn't chatting to his centre halves. He isn't pulling the direction of play. So he isn't a good communicator from what we've seen. And he isn't a big come and claim kind of guy either. So, his strengths then therefore should be shot stopping. He hasn't stopped one today. The second one, you don't get a chance to even get anywhere near. It's a very clinical ball at pace and near post, and he puts it away clinically, which is fine. I'm more there upset about the lack of pace from Galloway, and then Powelson and Such looking at each other going, oh, he's just come in between us and slotted home. There was no one tracking his run at all, or any returning midfielder for that matter. So we had an easy shot to goal, really, unmarked. But yeah, there is that. I think in Cooper at his best, and certainly last season under Miron, where we trusted Hazard and he was in good form, there's that aura and therefore good communication, and he'll come out and he'll command his box and he'll make those clearances with the balls over the top. We're not getting that from this guy. Therefore, I think the defence are a bit stick and twist. And I think what's compounding that is Powelson doesn't have any pace. Such does, but we haven't got the old sort of guard of Curtis Nelson and Sonny Bradley years ago, where one had pace, one didn't, and one played off the other. We've got two guys with one with reasonable pace, one with no pace, but Powelson's not suited to a back four. End of chat. He isn't.
I mean, what we're sort of forgetting, guys, is that we've just lost the whole spine of our team, right? So we were talking in the pod early on before the season started that we still got the spine of our team, and then all of a sudden, Hardy, Randall, all those players that were key to us have left. Talierov and Katic, and suddenly your spine's gone, and so you've got to rebuild that spine. And when you're doing that with players who haven't played together, it's going to take a little while to gel. And I'm not trying to make excuses for Cleverley, but that's the way it is at the minute.
By the way, I'm not trying to compare like for like Lee Jeffrey with saying comparing him to Cooper is worth 50 million quid. I'm saying when a defence is at its best, it's got a good keeper behind them who's a good communicator.
Yeah, I think just to add to that, the good thing is, and that's why we show the comments on the live now. Appreciate Dean. You've not obviously been in one before, being a Bolton fan, but showing the comments gets the conversation going with you. And yeah, it's a good, interesting balance. Not taking it away from the scorer, Toll. It was a good header. Poulsen, I think, was the player that he jumped in front behind to get the header, and that felt a bit weak. If you look at our channel, Carl actually took a really good video of the goal, and you've also got a bit of marking the keeper that was done. I think that might have been Dewberry, and so that unsettled him. But he's got it. Yeah, the point we're trying to make is that he's not really commanded in those first two games.
Also, I think if you're more aggressive, so let's look at the words of Tom Cleverley after the last game. Our defence weren't aggressive enough. They weren't trying to win the first contacts. They were, there was reticency from Poulsen with the ball bouncing around the box for their second goal last week, etc., etc. That's got to start with your goalkeeper. So he sets the tone. Now, if he's being pinned down in the box and he goes up for the corner and any contact's made out at all and he falls over, the ref gives a foul on the keeper.
Yeah,
right?
Correct. Yeah.
And I don't think anyone would have given De La Zouche a bit of a hammering if he'd come, got blocked, fell over, and they'd scored. Because we'd have gone, "Oh, ref, come on!" He's interfered with the keeper. But because he just, that's not for me. Stand, try and realign yourself for the oncoming header. He does neither of those things, and therefore the mindset needs to be, "It's mine. I'm going to go and knock 7 bells out of anyone around me, my team, their team, and I'm going to win this ball." That's what Hazard would have done. Unfortunately, whether it's ability, whether it's confidence with Hamid, I'm not sure, but he's got to set the tone for the defensive effort. I'm not saying he's to blame for it all, but if he's coming in aggressive, you're more likely to have your centre halves to come and be more aggressive. And I just think we're just too placid. And that's why I go back to the earlier conversation about mentality on the slide, which I insisted we put on earlier. I just think we're too nice, and I think we're all a bit. We've come down, and it's either we think we're going to roll teams over because we've just come down from the Championship, or it's we're too nice, we're not aggressive enough. The managers come out last week and said we need to be more aggressive in our defensive efforts, and we've not done it. And I think that sets the whole thing. Talking about Dan Scar, I was thinking about this earlier.
Yeah,
but he's going to be Poulsen 2.0 if we're playing him in a back four. So where Poulsen was really effective last year was in a back three. When we had Katic or Maxi out, and they both were out for a period of time, back three of Such, Poulsen, and Pleguezuela was fine because it's back three. But you can't play that type of player in a back four because they haven't got the ability to do so.
No, which is fair enough. So do we, with the options that we got, if you don't get someone in, do you have to switch that back three? We'll come on to that in a minute. Yeah, Andy, I mean, looking at, just the points as we put them down there, I'll go sort of the next one down on the left there. Poor forward pass. And I think that was the frustration. There was a mixture of, passing, the timing of passing not being great, misplaced passes, which we've seen all too often at times. And the basics effectively, finding your man, and also when you're running and trying to breach a defense, watching your line. I mean, there was a couple of times, Watts or Peppel got caught offside when we had a bit of a break, away. So, yeah, that's you cut out the mistakes from last week to a degree, maybe, but because obviously there was no individual error, but just not being able to pass when you've got key attacking possession, is just disappointing, frustrating.
Yeah, it is, mate. And it's just like we're trying too hard. We just keep it simple. All we have to do is keep it simple. I mean, Carl and I watched the training, and it was like fizzing around like anything. It looked really good, but the ball was lost there. So that's been transferred over to the game now, isn't it? So they're trying to sort of get that sort of fast-moving football, which is great to watch. But you've got to have players in the team that can actually play that sort of football. And you've got a lot of inexperience in there who cannot play that fast-flowing football that we're used to. So it poses problems, really, doesn't it? Losing the ball, having to retrace your steps, getting back, and sometimes not getting back, and conceding goals.
Yeah, and just echoing Mark's or responding to Mark's comment, stop going on about the keeper, just the back three out of sorts, just slow and weak. Yeah, we're highlighting that.
It's a collective unit though, so they're all as palpable as each other in my opinion, because you've got to have a defensive effort from them all. So I'm not saying it's all De La Zouch's fault at all by any stretch. You know, the four that are in front of him, not three. We're not playing a back three. Four that were in front of him. Matisariola, I think, did okay, but he's more in the game because he gets the ball forward more. The other three, I think, were poor, and behind him was just as bad. There was no intensity, no aggression. And if Miron was here now, he'd be flipping his lid over those type of, you know, winning the first contact and all that stuff that was ingrained to these boys, all three of them, all four of them in that back four for half a year last year, and now it seems to have disappeared.
No, exactly. And as I put in the comments, Dean, sorry, confused you. I know we've got a couple of, I think, Bolton fans in, so apologies for insulting you there. But yeah, sort of looking at, individual player impact. I mean, if I go back to that first 20 minutes, you know, like I said, I thought we were all going to be on for an exciting game. You know, both teams wanting to pick themselves back up after, the first game defeats. And it looked good at times. Yes, it was still evident that we lacked that threat up front, but we were high pressing, we were closing players down, we were trying to do something from what I could see on my phone screen in the car with a camera angle that was quite distant. But so there was some positives. Then you're thinking, yeah, come on, and then it just happens. With that. Goal, to be fair, just before the goal, Bolton got back into it a bit more, took more control, I should say, a bit more, and then obviously got the goal. But individual player impact, Gavin, Peppel didn't really have too much involvement for the first 15 or so minutes, was okay, but again, nothing to sort of really be able to do. Amiechi was almost non-existent. I was struggling to hear his name being called. Even David Norris referenced the fact that he was, just kept out wide and not really getting into the game. What was the tactics sort of there? He then obviously got subbed. And obviously, as we've said, yes, Finn coming on, sort of Roberts coming on and nearly getting himself injured again. Patterson looked, good when he came on for that short spell. What's his fitness like to start a game? There's a few things in there, but not much.
I thought Peppel did very well with his back to goal. Thought he held up well. There was one effort in the first half where he kind of got the ball through four defenders and then got brought down. I think cleverly referenced that in the post-game reactions on Argyle TV, saying if he was a bit fitter, maybe he would have got through them and got a shot away on goal. They've rushed him back. Again, we're going back to the threadbare. I think the bit that concerns me a little bit is 2 weeks ago, Tom Cleverley was saying that, I want a small squad. I want 25 players.
Yeah,
I'm really happy with where we'll be. We need one, maybe two more. Now, without saying we're threadbare, he's kind of said in the post-match reactions on Argyle TV that we're threadbare. I know we've had 5 injuries and some, you'd argue, key players. Edwards, certainly Pleguezuelo is definitely a defensive stalwart and a rock in that back 3-4, whichever way you play it. But I think now, we were saying this before the show, normally the finances of the club, they'll leave a pot of money in for January to see either in the Championship, to see if we needed to bring players in like we did last year, Katic and Maxi to keep us up. I think in the years gone by when we're in League One, the second year we left a bit in the pot for January to try and sign some bit of firepower to get us over the line. I think we might have to dip into that now if we are struggling for budget. And he mentioned it a couple of times in the Chris Harrington piece about we haven't got an endless pot of money like some of our competitors. Then I think we might have to push that forward and get some money in and use the loan market more effectively. I know that Tom Fox has turned around and said that he's a bit anti the loan market, but we need some strength in depth and quality and quantity, I think, pretty quick.
I think that's the sort of the worry, isn't it? I mean, Ninja Matt just said it. Just looking for his comment a second ago. Like, do we anybody think we'll actually get a number 9 or a centre back? Now, we have got the digestion of the post match comments from Cleverly, but sort of I've put it on the section that says set piece concerns and future impact, just in terms of sort of Gavin and I sort of debated this one in terms of my point was, how much is that game today not going to help? Cleverly's comment about, the hangover of relegation, affecting the players and not able to turn, sort of deal with that or change it up. And yet, that's really targeting those half dozen players that you mentioned at the start, Gavin, that have, been in. Well, we've got them in the bottom there, Galloway, Paulson, Sukes, Mumba, or Mums, as it says, clearly there, Boateng and Soranola. So you've got to think these other lads who've come in with the energy and determination to want to prove themselves. But, if you've got half your squad is not pulling it when they need to, then it impacts the whole way you're trying to play and everything else, doesn't it? So trying to get someone in when you're skinny on options is going to be, it's making it harder, isn't it?
But, like in any deal, isn't it? If you've got the high ground before you even enter in negotiations because the other team's desperate, guess what? You're going to put your price up. If you're Wrexham and you've already got 4 or 5 strikers of quality and you want another one, you're probably, we can leave that one and move on to the next. So it's the art of the deal. And unfortunately, we're going all in with a pair of twos at the minute, every single time we enter the game. So that's a challenge, and I think it will be until we get a bit of strength and depth. But we've Tom's got some good connections, Watford, Man United, and there's lots of people that he's played with who are managers across the footballing globe. We need to be tapping in to some good loan talent at the minute, and bringing some young, hungry people in who haven't got this hangover, which we didn't think we had. But it must be one of those that catches up with you about lunchtime when you get up and go, "Oh, great, I feel amazing," and then boom, by midday you're retching in the toilet.
Yeah, I think sort of, Andy, it's one of those where you deal in your day-to-day job, obviously, as a counsellor with a lot of people struggling and battling things, mentally, emotionally, etc. You've got a situation where, a lot has happened in the club. You referenced, obviously, we've lost some key players in the off-season. And we then picked up some injuries. I mean, we talked about communication and leadership on the pitch. Last game, Paulson had the armband today, but again, when he was, very communicative and leading, at the end of last season with the likes of Maxi, Katic and Plaguey in that back line, it just seemed missing again, isn't it? And so we've just been hitting those frustrating things where that whole comment, like Gavin said, the whole small squad, and then actually now he's backtracking because it's causing a problem with all these injuries and not getting some of these players late on. So it's a bit of a struggle, isn't it, for everybody? I mean, he said, Andy, at the end that we've got to, sit down and discuss those 2 games, and we've got to work hard. Yeah,
I think we've taken a step back as we've gone back to almost like before Lowe and Schumacher took over, where you conceded goals, the heads would drop straight away. And I think Kenny Pester mentioned it earlier on. As soon as the goal went in, the heads dropped, and getting that mentality back on there, getting that sort of camaraderie, say, "Come on, we need to dust ourselves off and get on with this game," is it's not happening on the pitch because there's no leadership on the pitch. You got Joe Edwards out, you got Paulson at the back. Who's not really much of a leader unless he's got someone strong beside him. So we've lost that leadership. We've lost even Adam Randall last season had that leadership in sort of certain areas. Houghton is another one.
What's really surprised me, Andy, is last season from my seat at Home Park, when we played a back 3, I went on record several times saying Paulson's one of the best organisers of a back 3 line I've seen at the club for a long, long time. You could hear him even from where I was sat up in the grandstand, right? And you certainly could see his gesticulation. And you come short, I go long. We go up as a 3, out, everyone push. Since he's got the armband, he's become mute. I know, I've seen him once live and obviously once on TV today, but it didn't feel like the player that was organising and structuring really well last year, and that's one of the biggest surprises for me, if I'll be honest.
Yeah,
I think it was one of his biggest
question. Sort of why did we drop Wiredu? Why drop Wiredu and instead of having Paulson in there? where are you in the team?
Yeah, I think there's potentially as a result of the situation, also discipline. Obviously, that scuffle in the 18-yard box, the wrestling match got us that fine, as we noted on Thursday's live lounge. So there may be a bit of just just going to have to keep you off for a second, mate. And make you sort of want to earn your place back in. I mean, when he came in, the game was gone. Then anyway, really, wasn't it? But it's an argument, and we'll come on to it in a minute. To start him off in the QPR game. Just looking at some of the comments, and I pulled this one up on the screen, good and proper, although you can all sort of see it. But Alex, who's a Bolton fan, who's joined us tonight, evening, Alex. As a Bolton fan, it looked like you need a spine, no structure within your squad. However, you have a few good individuals. Yeah, Alex, it'll also be good to sort of see. Just hear from you on how you felt. Obviously, you got the win, but how you felt your overall performance was. I think that Dewberry down the right, was awesome to sort of watch, and that creating that chance running down. We've seen Amieci get that at times, and just wasn't there today at all. Stephen Cooper, evening, Stephen. I've got the t-shirt on, or a t-shirt on tonight. Still haven't sorted the polos yet, but I need you to contact me. So try and grab me on the Block 9 email, go to the website, or find me on X, because I just want to check what exactly you would like size-wise. So when I sort it out, I can do that. What else have we got? PAFC King again. We were piss poor today and deserve to be relegated if this continues. I think on that point, and I know a few people, I think Andy Prowse, as I'm sure he's sipping from his Block 9 mug tonight, said on the live lounge on Thursday that, need to give it at least up to 4 games. And I think we said this before we went live. We don't want to sound happy clappy and stuff like that, because it is disappointing. Even I'm, frustrated with that today, and I always try to stay positive with everything. But we are only a couple of games in, and if we are going to get these issues out the way, it needs to be now. But there's no question that we obviously need to bring in these additional signings. And one of the last 2 points on their mentality we discussed, but salt in the wounds. That's striker bid. We've had the first rejected. We put in a second. Let's see what happens with that. How significant that is. But there's a lot of pressure on David and Tom now to get that deal over the line, because obviously it could be a signing that excites the city. And also, Dale Taylor wasn't even on the bench for Blackpool. Could you argue? Well, he only joined late and trying to find time for it. But
Andy wasn't on the bench either.
The great news is, and this is what cheered me up, flicking Soccer Saturday on Sky Sports. They've renamed us Plymouth Argyle nil. I don't know where they got that bit from, but they've done that twice now. 2 weeks on the bounce. I don't know why. And the second thing is, they said that team up the road in red and white were winning 4-1. I just thought it's made me Saturday. Thanks very much. So it couldn't have been better, I don't think. But we are where we are. I'm not pushing the jack button yet. I don't think there's any real need for that. I said this before we went on. I think it's a blessing in disguise, this, because 2 shots, XXXO. Jesus Christ, there's a man who's
that's why I wanted
man of my own heart in the room. I do like that. Very good. This should be a blessing in disguise. I think if we thought we were going to sort of coast into a top 6 spot with the side that we had, and Tom's going to come and sprinkle some fairy dust on our dejected Championship rejects, then I think we can think again. We've still got a good keeper to come back, a good centre half to come back, a really good left back who hasn't kicked the ball for us yet, really, to come back. So we've got some players. 3 of those 5 that are out, I think, are impact players. Probably 4 if you include Edwards. But we do need some quality in, and I think now maybe the perfect key to go in the lock to unlock it might just be slightly scruffier in terms of we might have to have something with a little bit more jagged edge to get it into the door, because I think they've been looking for this perfect personality profile of player. Loves red and white towers on beach fronts in cities that you can walk up.
I wonder where you were going there when you said red and white.
As a real penchant for a pasty. All these things are in the job interview spec. I think we need to just chuck a few off now and say, have you got a good heart? Are you a fighter? Have you got the qualities we need? Come down, sign, and let's get on with it. So hopefully I'm sure that no one's hurting more than Mr. Fox and Mr. Randall at the minute. Not deceased, but yet. But I'm sure that they're working furiously, and I'm sure there's been a lot of conversations with Andy P and Simon around budget.
Well, yeah, just going back to the comments again. Oh God, PAFC Kings mentioned Jatta again. We've sort of said in our private chat we can't see that because of his discipline. But yeah, just a Jana replying to Daniel, I'll come to in a second. Yeah, been like that for 3 seasons with Mumba. So Daniel, Bolton fan, saying looked like Mumba and Amiechi were really up for it, but you didn't have the proper output. They'd get breaks, but not have someone to cross it into. So just ended up running it out. It was more evident than Barnsley that we lacked that number 9, that target man. And I just sort of just feel that, Watts, when he was up there against Barnsley, did a lot. And that, he's adaptable, but yeah, it was clearly there was no outlet for someone to pass the ball to. Dave Nash, also a Bolton fan, just dropped a comment in. I think you seemed short all over the pitch, but reminded me of Bolton under Everett. Some nice bits, but in the wrong area of the pitch. And I think, Dave, yeah, especially when your first goal went in, because as I said earlier, I think for the first 20 minutes it was fairly even, and I thought we'd done better. At the starts ever so slightly, but yeah, it went. Mr. Magoo, need a Roy Keane kid of a player. Wouldn't kind of disagree with that. And we've also got, let me just go back through here. There was a couple of other comments I was going to pull up. Argyle tweets, evening Argyle tweets. You now find him on Blue Sky, but he's, I think, more so than you do on here. But time to sell up, Mr. Hallett is his comment in there. I get that sort of feeling, but yeah, I suppose if he could, he would. Those options don't appear to be there. However you want to read that, we won't go back over that again. And Dean saying it's identifying these players like Katic and Maxi. Absolutely. Maybe we have to go to the free transfer market and see who's available. Yeah, we've got to look everywhere. I'm just going to skip to the next slide because FOTMOB score ratings are interesting. But before we come on to that, those two made an absolute massive difference. Yes, we're in the Championship. Yes, we were struggling, but you've still got, I said this to Gavin when we were putting this together, that you've still got a bit of a draw because it's Championship football. A player that feels like they could come in and make an impact is only going to put themselves in the window. Interesting that Steve Vaughan mentioned earlier that Maxi wasn't even in the squad for Stoke.
No, he's injured. That's why he's got a knock.
Right. Okay. Thanks, Gavin. There you go. So that answers that. But obviously, they were 2 players that had an immediate impact. But trying to get some good players now, on loan or not, to come down when you're second from bottom, only 2 games. It does just make it harder. Anybody, Ninja Matt saying that can score goals, literally anybody. I can't say I'm ever going to put football boots on, and I'm more of a goalkeeper for sure. Don't know about you, Andy or Gavin.
Do you know what? I can score goals. You asked Ray Clark when you see him on Tuesday night, right? You ask him about the goal I scored at Chillerton, right? He'll tell you about that.
Well, Ray will probably be good. His son and daughter could be useful in this instance.
Absolutely, Ed would be. Yeah.
Just picking up on the FOTMOB scores, then we do like to just sort of share these because it gives a sort of picture of the lineup anyway. But Hammond 5.1, which is no real surprise. Wasn't overly tested outside of those 2 goals. In fairness, no. Sorinola 6.4. I felt he didn't have a bad game personally. 6.2. Paulson 5.9. Yeah, probably fair. No point in dwelling on that. Galloway 6.6 as a higher score than what we were going to expect to see when we
highest score for the side, which is interesting.
Say again.
Highest score on the day for anyone in the side, which is interesting. I wouldn't have said he's our best player today. But
he did all right holding back Dewberry initially in the first half, but I think Dewberry just worked him. When he turned him as well, sort of late on the game, embarrassing him in the nicest way. You could see Galloway was run his course then. Boateng 6.3 and Ibrahim 5.2. Again, not brilliant. Amiechi 5.9, not a huge amount to do. What 6.5, probably one of the better players, if not the better player on the pitch. Mumba 6, and then Pepple 5.4. So, yeah, agree with some, not with others. But I don't want to go back over the players too much on that slide.
Tell you what, guys, we've got a good keeper in the chat. We've got a good keeper in Kenny Pesta. He's a great keeper.
Oh, there you go. Just look as he's responded to that. Yeah. So let me just have a look at a couple of comments. So whoever scouted Maxi and Katic, PAFC King says deserves a medal. They were real quality. Yeah, no question of that. Yeah, Kenny Pesta said, "Off your arse, legend." Has it, Andy? So yeah, I'm sure Ray will tell me.
Slotted it into the far corner, mate.
Yeah, it's the only goal you scored in your entire life, but fair enough. Yeah, and Dean saying our problem is that our reputation at this moment in time is our reputation at this moment in time is awful. Not really sending it to players. No, that's my point, Dean. I mean, Tom Cleverley, is going to be a draw to a degree, but yeah, if there's options open to players, then they're gonna seriously consider everything to them, unless a club just wants to force the deal. Those FOTMOB scores are generous. PAFC King, yeah, that's exactly what sort of referring to. Jonathan Moore Decky probably got that wrong, but evening. I've not seen you in here before. Where do you feel your first win comes from? Next game, QPR, hopefully Carabao Cup. I don't know. What do we reckon, gents?
Oh man,
I'd say probably Blackpool.
Lincoln away.
Start they've had, which is what, the 26th or something.
Lincoln away, I reckon.
I think if we can get 3-6 points out of these games between now and the end of August, I think with the current squad, I think we've done bloody well, quite frankly.
Yeah, it will come. With Gavin's put a lineup in for QPR later, so we'll come to that. Lord of the Darts, hi guys, Bolton fan in peace. Yeah, no, all welcome. I think you guys are in for a long season without some recruitment. Could tell if we was just really good today, or you guys just really poor. Like Lord of the Darts, great name. I said earlier on, the first 20 minutes was really good from both sides, and we thought it was going to really be an open game. But yeah, you killed us after the goal went in. So Stephen Cooper got to start Finn Tuesday. He looked good. Yeah, we said that. He did bring that spark on the pitch when he came on, and even Patterson looked good, hitting some, at least one good ball in the game for the short 10 minutes or so he had. Jake Hillman, evening, Jake. We lose more money staying in League One. Keep a defence and forwards take the risk. Spend for once no quality projects. Yeah, look, it's gonna. There is money there. Hallett has confirmed, as Tom has, as David has. There is money there, but like Gavin touched upon it. We talked about this on Thursday. When do you get to the point of where trying to find the perfect player to join you, you could just be chasing that, diamond in the rough. And, you might have to just step it down. We respect them for doing it. But I think even with Cleverley's post-match comments, he's even now saying we've got to do something. The match stats then on the screen. First and second half, I thought we'd show this time. Actually, it's still not great for us. But yeah, 50-50 first half. Expected goals were poor on both sides, but at least someone scored one. But look at the shot difference, 7 to Bolton to our 2 on target, 1 obviously being the goal, and none to us. No big chances from either team or missed. And accurate passes 80% to us, to their 78%. Probably, I wouldn't disagree with that in the first half. Second half, 69% possession to us, purely because once that second goal went in, we started well. Second half, Gavin, to be fair, didn't we? But once they got that second goal, in the nicest way, they were just keeping us up in our own half. We were passing the ball back, forward, square. That's why that stat looks so high.
Tom touched on his post-game Argyle TV chat as well, and said we've not passed the ball with intent moving forward. We've gone side to side a lot. I'm not a possession for possession's sake type of coach, and we need to move the ball quicker through the thirds, or we need to go long occasionally. That's why I'm quite sort of surprised we never tried to sign Mohamed Tijani, because I thought in this level he would have done really well. And if you are then going to go direct, he's the guy who can hold it up and win those headers. But yeah, look, we are where we are. It was a bad day at the races, full stop, and we need to get the right players in the right positions, I think, moving forward.
Yeah, and agreeing with PAFC King as we said in our sort of match thoughts. Yeah, not even a shot on target. Says it all. Which is just...
I think if Bally's got a cooler mind when he breaks into the box in that first half, opens his body up and just tries to bend it in the corner, then we potentially score. But he tries to whack the Jesus off it, and it's the defender about 5.5 yards from him. So, to a Mironisms, it cool minds in it up the front and at the back. So.
Yeah, and so post-match reaction, Malachi Boateng was the player that came out pitch side for the interview. I don't know.
He got the short straw.
I don't know who did the presser one, but he basically, just to summarise what he said, not ideal. Boys not too happy. That's probably saying something. Still early days yet, and that's the point we're sort of making. I think, if we sort of get a defeat again, and even in the little Carabao game, say little, it's the wrong way of putting it, but the Carabao game on Tuesday, there's a chance for players like Finn, like Roberts, if he's not carrying a niggle, to get in there. Patterson, get some more minutes. Even Wire, even Peppel. To be fair, it's getting the minutes now, isn't it? That can help a great deal as well. So we'll see what comes back from that. And then before I go to Cleverly's, just check the comments again. It's how it is. Jonathan, is Dean saying about Argyle? Stephen Cooper, we'll win Tuesday. Watch, no pressure. I want to say yes, but even I'm struggling tonight, to be honest with you, and also tired, so no motivation in me. Jonathan, saying them relegation clauses have really backfired on Plymouth. Such low prices for your top players, and yes, it is, but that's the nature of Argyle, sadly, and we don't even know realistically what we actually got back for the likes of Talavirov and that. Lord of the Darts, I don't get why, Stephen. We've done 2 great bits of loan business. Lots of League One teams are still in for strikers. It's going to be very competitive. Rotherham just had both of their strikers injured tonight. Yeah, there's competition everywhere. And I will still stand by my point on I wouldn't just want them to go and chuck a huge chunk of money at someone and it just not work out and be reactionary. But we've got to. I want to see the likes of Roberts, Watts, if there's no other options, coming back into that 9 position and showing what he did against Barnsley. If you're looking for something, even as Senny, obviously is his position as a centre forward. Cleverly's post-match presser points then. So urgent need for squad strengthening. Defeats to Barnsley and Bolton, leaving Argyle 23rd in League One. We're not quite bottom. That's Reading, all because of the alphabet. But underscores the immediate need for the quality of numbers in the squad. A small squad already impacted by 5 player injuries. Demands urgent action in the transfer market, and recruitment challenges persist. Cleverly compared a second significant bid for the striker, we mentioned this just now, was placed after the first was rejected. Admitted recruitment is really difficult. Issues stem from geographical factors. Yet we discussed a bit about this on Thursday's Live Lounge, and selling loan clubs demands not financial constraints. So he's keen to highlight that again. Gavin, the sort of loan club demands. Yeah. We said about it when I said before going live. Actually, if you go back to Ashley Phillips, for those that know about this, he was on 10 grand a week, I think it was, Gavin, wasn't it? And if we didn't play him, we had to pay that, which is why we overused him. And then even Jusnip at the time come out and said, we had to give him a rest, really. These loan players with the 5 slots that we've got doesn't still make it easy from a negotiation part. And I don't know if it was David Fox actually at the forum or someone did allude to that,
saying that it's not always easy to bring loans in. Look, I think if a loan player comes in, they've got to get in the team on their own merits. Under Foster, I think he played every minute of every game under Foster, which certainly felt like it. I might have some people out there that are going to be statoing me up and badgering me up saying no, he didn't. But I know he definitely got dropped by Dewsnip and Nance because he was absolutely exhausted. And you're right, I think there was a clause in the contract that says if he's in the starting 11, we'll pick up his salary, so he's free to you, because they wanted him to develop and get minutes. If he's on the bench or he's not in the 11. Or in the starting squad or the bench, then he will be expected, or you'll be expected to pick up his tab, which is about 10,000 quid a week, £500,000 a year, or 520 grand a year. So there's a big incentive for him to play. Obviously, he did well because he did a good loan spell with us, and then he's gone on to Stoke, and Stoke have got him back for a second year, and they're over the moon with that. I think he was on the bench today, and they won 3-1. So look, we've got to get some talent in the door. Alfie Devine, who come with him, has just signed, I think, for another League One club. So we need some, we need some loans in the door. Mr. Cleverley's got a lot of contacts. Mr. Randall's got a lot of contacts. Mr. Fox has got a lot of contacts. They need to use them.
Yeah, I think we're in that piece where, although a number of players have been notified in some of the leagues of upper leagues of who's available, there still is that waiting game, isn't there, for patience of seeing if someone will come in and buy any players. Mark's point absolutely valid. We were talking about this on Thursday. Actually, it's easy to focus on the number 9 and not having that outlet, but the defence, we do need to sort that out.
Just on the loans as well.
Yeah.
The Premier League have to name their squad to 25 for this weekend coming.
Right. Okay.
Because that's when the Premier League starts, which will then sort the men out from the boys their end, and then there will be some players I think available for loans that haven't already gone. So the ones that have gone already they're definitely not in the plans for the first team this year. Out you go. But those that are on the periphery of the squad, it's Preston. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thanks, Leslie, saying Alfie Devine signed for Preston. On a permanent, I think that was as well, actually. Those that are on the cusp that aren't going to make that 25 squad, that don't want to play under 23 football all year, they'll definitely go out on loan. I think that's when that sort of element of the market starts to move.
Yeah, and I think we've just got to sort of bite the bullet, and we all sit here and we've touched upon it. It is easy, from the outside looking in. I would love to understand this a bit more. Part of what we want to do, with our Thursday live lounges, where we sort of digest a few more things. It's a more relaxed show, although feeling quite calm and relaxed tonight now, really, because I'm tired. But we want to bring people in that are associated with football in any way, to sort of give us thoughts on how things do pan out at times, because it's great to get some insights. You're not going to get anything directly from active people to a degree, but I'd like to see at the end of the window maybe a bit more openness and honesty from David Fox in a Argyle interview, to sort of really hear about the challenges that he's faced. And he came in really sort of late to the table as well. But we know Tom Randall has been there in the background, and as well as I forget the other person's name, Gavin, but
Stuart Webber.
Thank you, to try and help sort the club out. It'd be interesting if they had any involvement. Do we know in the Maxi and Katic?
Yeah, they were. So Stuart Webber was in at that time, because there was a crossover. But I actually think Jimmy did the Katic and Maxi Televirov signings. I think they were in the plans anyway. I don't think that was a Mironism, but I think Miron got one of them, certainly at least, over the line by his persistence.
Yeah, no, cool. And sort of, I suppose, Andy, come to you on this point, as alluded to with what you do day in, day out. But, he sort of mentioned about performance and self-reflection. So despite a decent start against Bolton, the team failed to respond after conceding, losing rhythm and cutting edge. Cleverly called for internal reflection from those two games from everybody as well at the club, urging staff and players to work harder and look in the mirror first to improve. So that's quite a strong comment to make, isn't it? Is that, and I'm not trying to read into it, so to speak, but to sort of say everyone, urging staff and players to work harder and look in the mirror first.
Yeah,
where's he going with it?
A strong comment, to be fair, but you've got to have that, and especially when you're traveling back from Bolton now on a 6, maybe 7 hour coach journey with your teammates. You're going to be discussing the game. You're going to be, looking at your own performance in that game. So, yeah, you need to have this sort of mentality, winning mentality. Now, you see the clubs that have come up from League 2 this season, they've won again today. Stockport, I think Bradford won again today. Wimbledon won today. So they've got that winning mentality. At the moment, we've just been relegated. And I know a lot of these players haven't been involved with us in that relegation, but there's a lot of people in that squad who have got a losing mentality. And we've got to try to sort of work hard mentally on that, as well as on the when we're on the ball. So you've got to have that. I mean, Clever's just got to do that. He did it at Watford, and certainly worked for them.
I think last year as well, mentality swing came the day that Maxi and Katic walked through the door. You could see, certainly where I'm lucky enough to get in the club at about 11:30. Katic was midday every home game on the button, walking out, visualizing the game in his trainers and his shorts, whether it be January, February, March, whatever. They were, I think Miron mentioned that training sessions under Rooney started at 9:30. Katic and Maxi were in the door at 8 o'clock, ready to be in the gym for extras at 8:30. It's just that elite mentality, which Tom clearly has. He's played for Man United. He's played for England. He's worked with some very elite performers. They need a bit of a jolt in the arm again. I thought maybe Weirdo was that elite mentality and that leader, but it looks like he's had all the air deflated out of him in a really poor first home game, and then he's on the bench. So I think if he'd had a really good first game, he may have been that person to drag people with them. But it doesn't feel like we've got one of them at the minute. Joe Edwards being out, Pleggy being out, those natural leaders who drag people with you, those sort of talismans, if you like, aren't there. So maybe it's into the loan market, into the free agent market, to get a couple of characters in the business that are going to be absolutely ready to drag everyone with them over the whitewash and to sort of put a bit of pride back in the performance.
Yeah, I mean, Kenny's just highlighted it there, really, Gav, isn't he? Sure, back in the days of Derek Adams, that they had a psychologist there. I know a good psychologist. I think no, but it's in seriousness, to have someone to sort of offload to and talk to about your mental state, especially Weirdo. If he's had that abuse since his first game at Argyle, and he's just come from playing like in front of 4,000 or 5,000 crowds to suddenly 16,000 crowds, it's going to be overawing for him, and you're going to need to have to sort of get yourself mentally ready for this as well as physically.
We need some characters that are going to just grab people and say, "Follow me, I'll show you. This is me," and that starts at training and competition for the small-sided games. All the stuff, ironically, that if you look at our form guide of the last 3 months of the season last year, I thought we'd nailed under Miron. And now it seems to have ran at the back door again after 2 games, which is
the thing with that, Gav. Miron came in and he gave that speech, and even the likes of us were sort of thinking, right, I'd run through walls for this guy.
Yeah,
and it was the biggest.
But I don't think TC is a particularly not a motivator of people either, and I think he's very detailed, and I think he's leading by example, and he's obviously had a great career. But it's the characters around him. We haven't got. Don't underestimate Hazard as a leader on the pitch. In goals, and we haven't. We've got a very poor reflection of that. Don't underestimate Pleggy as a character. I remember seeing his first game in the Carabao Cup actually against Cheltenham 3 years ago. Whenever he signed, he was brilliant communicator, and I said to my brother at the time, that man will captain the club before he leaves, because he was just a born gifted communicator. Edwards, we all know about him. He's been here since 1903. And he's been captain since 1910. He's a great leader on the pitch. We haven't got these people that are dragging people over the line and pushing people forward.
I think, Gavin, I was just sorry to cut. I was just thinking, like, sort of as Andy was talking, you were saying there, and we talk about leaders on the pitch. But picking up Cleverly's comment about, sort of everybody at the club effectively, sort of the CEO, as in Andrew Parkinson, needs to get in there and needs to sort of G everybody up and sit down and say, where are we not getting what we need to get done? Where are we doing? And just equally be, sort of energizing your people. You're shaking your head. So go on, give me your thoughts.
That's not Andrew Parkinson.
Oh, yeah, sorry. Yeah. But that
he's a strategist who sits 20 miles behind enemy lines.
Yeah. But
he would shit himself going into that changing room.
Yeah.
Or going
so is that part of the
meeting.
Problem? Is that part of it? Because he's also not there day in, day out.
Yeah, he's also week on, week off. But he's very good at growing the commercial element of the business. Brilliant at that. Is he a gifted communicator? No. Would he go into the changing room and offer great Churchillian speeches about how we need to improve? No. That's not what he's here for. That's probably a Foxy role, and Foxy's a communicator. It's horses for courses. I'm saying you have to have the CEO banging the desk, going, Andy will sit there and say it was 5 million revenue when I took over. It's now 33 last year. I've done my bit, gentlemen. It's over to you, which is fair. You can't argue with that. But we've got a director of football now who's not long played, in David Fox, who was at the club, who played at Premier League level and all the levels in between. You've got a very good and accomplished head coach with a very good coaching team, who have all got ability, and and Nance, I'm sure, in his own unique way, will be showing us or showing the team about how the pride to play for the club and all that good stuff that goes with it. And we've got a good recruiter in Tom Randall. So I think all the pieces of the jigsaw there. It'll be a cop out to say, oh, it's still early and they're trying to gel. I think there is a bit of that. But anyone who's watched any kind of football for longer than 5 minutes will see the caliber, the profile, which is the new modern word of this, the profile of those people on that pitch for the last 2 games isn't good enough collectively or individually to get us to the top 6 of this division. Fact, as it stands today. Now, can they work on stuff in training? Can they become better? Yes, probably, right? Can 1 or 2 people coming in the door now really G this up and do a Katic and a Maxi? I think so, but we got to get the right characters in. And it needs a collective effort from everybody, from probably Janet, who makes the tea, right through to Simon, to everybody pulls together to try and get this done. It's just supporting the people that carry themselves onto the whitewash every week to do their best job and be their best self, I suppose.
Yeah, no, exactly. I mean, I'm certainly not referring to banging fists on desks in an aggressive way, but just bonding the team and making sure your senior leadership guys are there. They're getting the support that they need. Can I get on the phone with you to help get something over the line? I'm not saying Andy isn't doing that. I certainly wouldn't want him in the dressing room. That is Tom's bit, but it's getting that team together and just saying, right, let's just make sure we are doing everything we can, and we probably are, with the situations that we face. It's just, I find that comment from Tom interesting, but look, it just gives a chance for everybody then, at least if anything, to stop and go, well, could I be doing anything better? Actually, well, I think I'm doing my best, and they may well agree.
I don't think anyone can say I'm straining every sinew. To because no one's at 100% capacity all the time. It's impossible. Otherwise, you sort of fall over. But looking at Tom Cleverley's work ethic, he's in the door apparently at 6:30, and he leaves at 6 o'clock at night. So there aren't many. That's kind of Alex Ferguson type hours. There aren't many managers out there like that. I know his predecessor wasn't like that. I'm on about Mr. Rooney. I don't know what time. Well, actually, now 7:30 Miron used to get in, from what I understand.
Rooney used to get in from the cider press at
that's right. Yeah, Wayne used to get in from the cider press at 7:30, couple of hours kit, bacon batty, and then straight down the training ground. But everyone can do more. Of course they can. But I don't think Tom's of the characteristic to start pressing any panic buttons yet, because we've played 2, lost 2.
Yeah, no, that's what we're saying as well, isn't it? It's I think, can't remember who mentioned it. I'm just going to come to some more comments now, but once we get a few more games in, then you might be thinking, oh, if it's still a bit edgy. So let me look at some of the comments. I like this one from Just a Jana. Evening, mate. If you build on wobbly foundations, and it will all come tumbling down, and we are seeing it firsthand. Building the defence will strengthen the foundations. Yeah, there is that, and also by not having the sort of best form of defense is offense, as they say, but we don't even have that at the moment either. So we're stuck with our attack and our defense not in a great place, and so then it's putting a lot of pressure on other areas of the pitch. Jonathan saying, I'm a Cardiff fan. He's been with us tonight for a bit. Thanks for coming in, John. And so swung both ways for us so far. Good versus Peterborough, but awful. Put my teeth back in versus Port Vale. Still unbeaten, luckily, and not done in the market. Most likely looking at loans, though, for them too. Kenny Pester saying, I'm sure back in the day, Derek Adams hired a psychologist to work with the players. I think you read that out anyway, Andy. Just scrolling back down. Carl moaning that I'm saying I'm tired. He's still on his way back, but logged in. I'm guessing he must have swapped seats. Someone else is driving. But yeah, I still was in the car sharing the stint with the missus, picking up the kids after long week. Of doing this sort of stuff with Gavin and the
mentioned Dan Scar a few times as well. It's probably worth just having a minute on that.
Yeah, well, coming back to that, because we touched upon it at the start, didn't you, Steve? Earlier, sorry, in the show, Stephen Cooper. Do you think Scar would be a good signing? I mean, Gavin, go give us your thoughts again on that, and then Andy, I'll come to you.
As a character, 100%. If we're going to play a back three, would I have him in the centre of back three? Yeah, absolutely. Get him on loan from Wrexham. He's got 1 year left, I think, there on that deal. Is he a good centre half in League One? Absolutely. If we were still in the Champ, I would say maybe not. But he's a good leader in League One. But he needs to be in a back three because he can't play in a back four either. And Wrexham play a back; they play 3-5-2 or 3-5-1-1. So Tom's going to have to be flexible in his formations. I think if we can only get players of a certain profile that play back three and 2 wing backs, we've got Saranola and we've got Ballymumba and we've got McKenzie and we've got Edwards, so we've got some cover there. And we played 3-5-2 last year or 3-4-2-1. Then we can do that. But at the moment, our head coach is talking about playing 4-2-3-1, which he's played in the past. I know he chopped and changed at Watford last year and played both when we had injuries, and he might have to do that again this year. But if we're gonna commit to a 3 at the back or back 5, absolutely, I think Scar would be very much worth getting on the phone to the echelons, upper echelons at Wrexham and ask him to come home. I know that Mr. Hardy has a free house across the road from me, so he can move back in there if he wants to.
Wouldn't that be interesting?
But if it's a back 4, and I think Mark just hit the nail on the head on his comment, if it's a back 4, he is too slow. Right?
Yeah.
Fact.
Yeah, it's sort of, yes, his energy and his fight and desire. He loved the club as well. He was part of that League One winning team and all the passion and bonding. It's great, but sometimes it also just doesn't work, does it? Going back. There's that. But yeah, we got to deal. I mean, Jake Hillman said some experienced pros needed. We've got a couple in there, but they're out. The likes of Edwards and Plaguey. Paulson is obviously experienced, but is going through. He was poor when he came into the season last season and then turned it on. As well in the end. And it's just interesting how he started the same way again.
That's because he started wide right under Rooney. Since when was he a right-sided defender or even wing back? I think he played a couple of games. When we saw him at Bristol City, it was embarrassing because he was about 15 yards behind the play for the entire game as a wing back. But when he put him in the centre of a 3, he was fine and he was a good communicator. It's horses for courses again, and whether Tom's going to have a sit down with Foxy and go through where we're going to play football, because that's a director of football to head coach conversation about the format and how we play. Yeah. Who knows? But at the moment, I think we're trying to squeeze square pegs in round holes.
Yep, I'm just going to slip back to the slide deck because the next slide is going to be embarrassing, but I'll come to it in a second. Stephen Cooper saying, love you, Gavin, laughing out loud on polo shirt, same size as you. Did you say that you were also...
You've been sniffing through my wardrobe because I never mentioned that. It wasn't a material fact.
Oh, dear.
Thanks, Steve. Anyway, love you.
Missing too. Zoo Corner tonight as well. I don't know if he's... because I'm sure he would have some...
I think he's coming... Looking at his tweets earlier, I think he was up there, so he's probably...
Right, okay, fair enough then. And Chris Vaughan saying, we were promised a top 6 League One budget, and we've ended up signing players from League Two and lower end League One. That will not get us anywhere near the top. Well, this is where this whole second bid on this striker that will excite the city. We'll see what that is, because if there's still a few £1 million in the coffers to spend, then it is there. The next slide is our Block 9 WhatsApp crew score prediction.
Herbie comes absolutely gloating. I know he's on his way back from the ground.
Yeah, well, let me.
Is there anyone who's got any kind of pride in our little prediction league?
I'll go from top to bottom. So Carl, who was also at the game on his way back, he went Bolton 2-1 with Watts scoring for Argyle. So, yeah, there you go. Myself, I went the reverse of that. I was really hoping for a turnaround, but clearly, like I said, I can never bet against us, but I went for Watts and Peppel. Andy, you went 1-1. So, there you go. Amiechi scoring. Emma went Bolton 1, Argyle 3, with Watts with 2 and Mumba with 1. Steve 2-1. Finley went, who's the PAFC News Hub, who was just in the comments just there. He went 1-0 to Argyle. Marcus 1-0 to Argyle. Herbie 3-0 to Bolton, not far off. And Harvey, England went 1-1, and Gavin, you went 2-1 too. So let's just move on from that. So as we, just before I start on this slide deck, we are an hour and 10 in. So I want to thank everybody that has joined us tonight, looking across the channels that we stream this to. Including the Block 9, myself on X Crazy Pilgrim, and our YouTube channel, and Andy's YouTube. We've got just shy under 1,200 in again tonight, which is where we were on Thursday. So really, really appreciate that. And thank you all for joining us tonight, and also some opposition fans as well. So where do we go from here? So we've got a lineup prediction for QPR, because that's the next game in the Carabao Cup. So reflecting on this, strategic signings, I'm not going to go over it too much because we sort of pretty much have done this already, but those strategic signings, whenever we can get them, are going to be crucial, I feel, at the moment, or we all agree. Leveraging that loan market, is going to come into effect soon, and then bouncing back for QPR. So Gavin, talk us through your suggested or proposed lineup for the QPR game.
So hear me out on this one, right? I think just the 9 changes. Yeah, just the 9 changes. I think what TC needs to see, because we've seen a collection of players play either 90 or 30 minutes or 60 minutes, a combination of those 3 for the last 2 games, and the Bristol City at home. The lineup's been pretty consistent. It's been Ashby Delazouche in goal, Such and Paulson. It's been Sorinola and Galloway. Midfield's been a little bit mixed, but it's either been Boateng or Ibrahim or Weirdo, and then up top's been the same 3 pretty much. Thereabouts. Watts, but then coming back in Pebble. So we haven't seen some players, or in this instance, we have seen some players. So Thursday night, I think Zach Baker deserves a shot on goal. He played he played 30 minutes, I think, didn't he, at Torquay in front of us? And I thought his communication was really good. He was very confident. He was a good clear of the ball. I thought his distribution was good. He didn't have a save to make, but that's by the by. He took a couple of crosses. So I think Zach deserves to show what we got, because we've still got a blank there with Hazard being out, at least I think till the end of the month. So it's another 2 or 3, maybe 4 games away. I've gone Benarouz. I thought actually did okay at left back when he came on today, handling the league's trickiest customer. I've stuck Weirdo in the back 4. He's played there for Fleetwood. He doesn't like playing there, but we need to solve this problem. And if we're not signing anybody between now and Tuesday, then Weirdo and Such need to be the back 4, the 2 centre halves. And I've gone an absolute wild card, having saw the kid for 25 minutes at Torquay. Joe Muero, I thought was brilliant. He came on, very astute. He's pretty much a mini-me of Serinola. So I'd like to see him start and just see what he got. I think the kid's 16, maybe 17 from under 18 side.
Yeah,
but very well respected.
16.
Boateng and Roberts in the 2 holding midfield roles. Assuming Roberts is fit. I know he had a bit of a limp earlier, but he seemed to come on and run it off. I'd like to see Caleb Roberts try and stamp an authority there, because if we are having Brendan Weirdo in the back 4 at the moment, then we need an extra option in the midfield alongside Ibrahim
hungry
at the moment. I thought Peterson was probably our best player on the field. I'd love to see him in that 10 and start. I think he's got a great vision. He's very calm on the ball. He looks up. He can play 360 all round him, back to goal. He can play left, right. He's got both feet. He's a very experienced character, and he's very calming. So I'd like to see him in the 10 channel. And then I've gone completely rogue up top. So Tegan Finn's done enough for me to show what he can do against. I'm sure
want to see
QPR
more of it.
will play a version of their squad. I don't think they'll make total changes, but Tegan Finn was the only bright spark of my Boxing Day last year when he came on against Carver. I think we got walloped 4 or 5-0. I can't remember. I lost count after a while. But he hit the crossbar by cutting in off his left and was the only player who looked like he was interested on that day. I think he deserves to get a start. Freddie, we've not seen.
He's injured though.
Oh, is he? Oh, yeah. That's why we've not seen.
Yeah, I didn't see that earlier. Sorry, Gavin. Yeah,
that's right. No, it's a problem. I didn't know he was injured. Oh, he's the 5th, is he? Okay, fine.
Yeah.
So who would I put top wide left then? It's a very good question. I tell you what, I'd probably throw Hatch up there because he played there pre-season. And then I've given Osani a go up top. It's Tuesday night. I wouldn't want to be. Well, actually, it'd be him or Peppel. I think would deserves another go. But I think if you look at that side, it's exhausting the squad, but it's also saying there's a shirt there on Saturday if any of you impress me enough. Now we could get walloped 5-0 playing that side if QPR are taking the Carabao Cup seriously and they play a lot of their first team players because they've got Chair and they've got who's the guy they got in last year from Chelsea on loan, who I think we've signed permanently. But they've got a very exciting top 4 players and they've got some good stalwarts in the midfield. So if they play their full side, we might be in trouble. But actually, I'd say go out, no fear. It's Carabao Cup, get on with it, see what you can do. And that side for me is enough to say go and grab a shirt for Saturday.
Yeah, and Andy, just to get your thoughts just before I do. So Jonathan's left us now as well, the Cardiff fan. He said, good night and good luck, except against us. The Scott Aspinall, obviously, as soon as he started putting a few more emojis, which are not translating, I blocked him. So no need for that, but some will do it. And Stephen Cooper's asking how the Tamerton kids got on, which is the team that we've, the 15s, whose kit we've sponsored. They don't start until September. So, and Carl will give us the updates on those ones. So, Andy, Zach Baker, I think, in Gavin's lineup here, I think why not? We're not picking on trying to, sort of pick on Hammond in that sense, but it'll be interesting to sort of see how Zach Baker would do on Tuesday night. I think that would be a no-brainer. Certainly Caleb Roberts, when we've seen him, glimpses of him coming on last season, he's hungry, he's young, he's committed. He made a great hard tackle, which Norris and co on the commentary thought was Sorinola, but it was Roberts. Patterson, I think, with the quality of balls that he can produce, then if you can't make a full 90, then let's start with him if he can change the game. Likewise with Tegan. Oseni, I think, needs games. Izaka obviously not being there. I think, I would say, Andy, Peppel try and pit in there somewhere because I think it's getting minutes is key here. But what's your thoughts with that lineup?
Yeah, you got a bit of experience there, haven't you, with Patterson, Boateng and Belarus, and to extent Nwerudu. I'm looking at bringing all these young players in. It could have 2 effects. We could go and they could actually play well for the shirt and go and win the game, or we could get hammered. And then you're thinking, that's a 3rd defeat on the bounce. And
we're playing against QPR. I don't think anyone's expecting us to win.
Yeah, no, it's still a mental thing. Fans start to get disgruntled, don't they, when they've lost 3-0 against or 3-4-0 against QPR or whatever. It could go either way. You got to try your youngsters, definitely. No harm in trying your youngsters, but did we have that many youngsters in there? I think Finn's worth a shout. With Peppel on the other side, maybe, yeah. But other than that, I just think that's fine. But you've got to be so careful when you blood too many youngsters at the same time. That makes sense. I think.
I think with with a small squad as it is, minutes is crucial for it. If you're having to mix it up and we don't get signings, or God forbid, touch wood, we get any more injuries, you're going to need these squad members to get minutes. No matter how young or old they are.
Yeah, they need minutes, definitely.
Yeah.
I think the issue is if you're not trying them in a Carabao Cup game.
When can you try them?
Start till October, I think it is, or maybe there's one game in September.
You've got to see them in the league match.
There is nothing. We don't have reserves. We don't have under 23s. It's 18s and first team. That's as good as it gets. So if you want to ask questions, if you're seeing kids in training go, oh, hello, and Tegan Finn being one of them, if you're going to try them out on a starting game, you don't want to be doing it when we've lost 3 on the bounce in the league, going, oh, well, this is. That's when you really, I think, are in a hiding for nothing. Whereas this, I think, is a no-risk game of football in the fact that if we go out of the Carabao Cup in the first round, so be it.
It's a free hit, isn't it? Really. But then, do you want to progress in the Carabao Cup and get those younger players more minutes? I don't know. It's one of those difficult ones, isn't it?
I just think out of anything, you can never have enough time on the grass in game minutes. You know, whether that's against a really good Championship side or it's against a lower league side. I think and you've only got to, if they put out a weaker side, QPR, which will still be full of talent also. If then you get a result, it lifts the club. It might be a Carabao game, but it lifts the club, and a few players in there that might be selected then for Saturday. If it was me, with knowing that the first two games haven't been great, if I was Roberts, Benarouz, Patterson, Finn, Aseni, or Moiro, if I can pronounce that right, I would be absolutely, including Zach and even Waidu, I'd be going for it and absolutely trying to make a statement, even if as a collective you don't end up playing that well. Well, touch wood, let's hope they get a result. But you want to put in a shift because you want to be in that mindset of Tom Cleverley going into
I think Joe Morel is an interesting one because we don't at the moment have a second cover for Matty Saranola. So if he falls over, we are because Edwards is going to be out for, did he say 2 or 3 weeks?
Yes,
it's a hamstring strain, I think.
Yeah.
So you need questions. So if unfortunately our skipper, who's phenomenal, but he was out for what, 4 months last season, 4.5 months last season of the 9. So he's got really towards the autumn of his year. I don't think he'd even mind us saying that he's had a really bad. Did his hamstring rip away from the bone last year and they had to surgically stitch it back on? So, and he's got a hamstring strain again. So there's clearly a recurring issue there because he's 903 or whatever he is, and he's been playing for us since 1900 and whatever.
Sorry, Joe. Sorry. Yeah.
So we need to show, and if we're not going to sign a right back, then we've got a capable kid. By the looks of it, it would quite excited me. He wouldn't be brought into Torquay, I don't think, if he would. Zoo Corner. Hello, Zoo Corner. Good evening.
Love the comment.
What?
I'll read
back. What a shit show that was.
Yeah.
I only read that at the corner mark because I was talking. I thought he was saying what a shit show this is. I was going to say, well, I can't see
that too, but that's just us.
There we are. It is what it is. I think if Joe wouldn't have been young Joe, 16 all he is, Mini Saranola, as he will now be named, he wouldn't have been brought to Torquay to get 20 minutes if he wasn't part of plans and to test him at men's football. So, yeah, that's why I threw him in.
So, interesting comment, and it is good to see you coming in even towards the end, Zoo. So, I hope you had a fairly clear trip up and back. So, you've managed to get in before Carl, anyway.
Part-time podder, mate. Part-time podder.
Yeah. So, Rosa Kernes is back in again tonight evening. So, against QPR, we need to put out our best team, perhaps have the youngsters on the bench, give Clevs an opportunity to try out a few tweaks. I think I disagree because I'm agreeing that we should start up with a different 11 purely because we need these players to get minutes. And I think Cleverley needs, as I was alluding to see if some of these other players, could step up into the league game. If we do, Rosa play another strong 11 again, you got the issue then against QPR, who could again beat us. Where does that pit them then mentally for the league game next and not then getting that rest? I can sort of get your point, but I sort of agree with the lineup, to be fair. So Rob saying QPR will have an easier time on Tuesday with that lineup. Not the strongest 11 would do much. Not that the strongest 11 would do that much better. Sadly, Zoo, another comment. Your show is better than the crap I watched today.
To be fair, Zoo, it's not a high bar, mate, is it?
Take the word straight out of my mouth.
Yeah. Oh, was it? Oh, sorry.
So as we come to wrapping up, gents, there's one thing that's making Gavin more happier than anything else, and it is his bed-wetting shares. Yes, the latest Unilever share price, as you can see
now, boys.
in the bottom section there on the right, it has spiked up since the season started. So Gavin's counting his extra pennies with that plus 61%. Sorry, 61 up points on their
points, 1.37% up in the last month since all those people that have been wetting the bed on a regular basis have been going out and buying Persil, which is one of the portfolio companies of Unilever. So thank you to everybody who's continually pissy pants, and getting the wife to wash the duvet because share price is going up, and I'm now lumping on daily, quite frank. In fact, most Saturday evenings, I'll just move the portfolio around just to make a few more quid.
Exactly. I had to put this in tonight. The fact that when I Googled it, it was up and over the start of the season.
I've been saying in our internal chat every week, it's going up again. Unilever has got up again. And
Kevin's the MD of that company, you know.
What's that?
Gavin's the MD of that company.
Mate, I wish I was the MD of Unilever PLC. I'd be a very happy man, but unfortunately I'm not.
Absolutely. So I have put up the results. Is that the results?
No, that's
the next
that's
matches.
the fixtures.
Yeah. I'll move away from that then.
That's what happens when you do things in a rush.
See, come on, Gavin. We're sat there and we're going through these slides together, check them over. And then
I didn't even look at that one, I have to say.
I shall read them out now, so bear with me a second. It's because I didn't click on the blooming results. So let me go through it. So where are we? No, hang on. Oh, come on, Edwards, get your act together. There we go. So Peterborough 0, Luton 2. So good start for Luton. Reading 0, Huddersfield 2. Wimbledon 2, Lincoln 1. Barnsley 3, Burton 2. So off to a good start for them. Bolton 2, obviously Plymouth 0. Exeter 4, Blackpool 1. And yes, I'm sure they're all over the socials bragging about how they're the top at the moment or above us in the league. Leyton Orient 2, Wigan 0, Mansfield 1, Doncaster 2, Northampton 0, Bradford 0, Stevenage 1, Rotherham 0, and Wickham 1, Stockport County 2. There's no point in showing the league table, but obviously the next, which is, of course, this slide was really for the next fixtures that happen next Saturday. It's going to be an interesting one away again. Sometimes you just want to get back, don't you, to the home crowd and sort of get a result back to try and lift you again. So it's going to be an interesting one in that one, I think, gents, isn't it?
Oh, wow. Yeah, it's punishing, isn't it? Going to Lincoln, they're a tough side, Lincoln. I know they lost today, but they're a good side, Lincoln.
Skubler's a good coach.
Strong northern side. Most of these northern sides, you know.
Right, that's the whole division you described there, Andy. Apart from
big floggers, aren't they?
Skubler's a good coach, and he's well organised. There will be a hard side to break down.
And also just in the comments, Mark agreeing with Rosa. Always go with your preferred 11. Consistency is key. If any get injured, does it really matter based on what we've seen? And great show, guys. Thanks for that, Mark. Look, we'll soon find out on Tuesday to see what happens. I think you could definitely argue for both. We're going for the chance to mix it up. So just a couple of things to end on then. Tales from the Block. Tomorrow I'll start working on that next episode. That's going to be interesting.
That'll be entertaining.
Bit like it was last weekend. Doing that one where I had a bit of fun with the fans forum and sort of Simon Hallett, Andy Parkinson, David Fox, and Charlie Price getting together in the meeting room to discuss the fans forum, and Simon in the joking dramatization that it is having a bit of a mare worried about what Bradders was going to stand in the forum and say and all this jazz. So go in. It's sort of it's good fun. I think it's good fun, and I know a couple of the guys in here, like Ninja Matt, enjoys listening to them. So it's all a bit of fun with dramatization with real life events. So try and pick myself up for that one tomorrow. And then next up, so I am off from Wednesday. I'm at the game at QPR, so I get to see that one at least, depending on what is happening on the day, whether or not I can sneakily dial in because we're going away on holiday with the kids, and I'm very much looking forward to the break. So I won't be there for the Thursday live lounge. So guys, if it all goes Pete Tong,
this is going to be an absolute shit show.
We got this, guy. We got this, mate.
It could be the funniest one we've done today.
Like your shares, mate, and that.
If any of our listeners ever watched the Chuckle Brothers on TV growing up, then you'll probably begin to know what to expect, because Carl and I have got the levers between us. So I think there's going to be plenty of to me, to you. And one of them is dead now, which is kind of ironic. But there we are.
It'll be fun.
Yeah, it's going to be fun.
Yeah, I'll certainly miss it, but if I can listen in, even if it's while chilling out by the pool.
Our great production skills.
Yeah, well, exactly. But no, they'll be fine. They'll be fine. So give them all the support next week, because also the Saturday, I will also miss that one. I won't be back. Well, we'll be back for the next Thursday live lounge. So God, I hope I got something positive to put together with Gavin for that one with the guys. But yeah, it should be good. Also, sort of merchandise I've mentioned earlier. I'm sort of looking at these T-shirts. So it'd be interesting to get some thoughts on that, but I'm going to pick some stuff up. It'll probably be when I'm back, if I'm honest now. So Stephen, I'll sort out your polos. I think you said, if I'm correct, Stephen, if you're still in the chat, I'm not still in the live, that you're a taxi driver. And I was trying to sort of consider using one the other night, and in the end we didn't. But I'd like to get your details, because it'd be good to have a chat as well and give you those tops. But yes, the mugs and stuff, it all helps, sort of contribute to this. I think the T-shirts I can get for like a tenner. I did go into, I don't want this to sound wrong, but Primark at the weekend, and they had some really good 100% cotton ones, which were just a few quid, which if I can then get those and put the logos on that I do here.
And then charge 400 quid like the range. Oh, sorry. Sorry.
Yeah, no, always great value at the range, Gavin. So it'll be $29.99. But yeah, something around the tenner, but obviously excluding postage. Want to make sure that there's something in it that makes you want to buy them. There's no point in pricing out, is there? But and a few other bits. New League One battle game. So those of you that are familiar with us, last season I did a championship challenge or clash game, which was good fun. Especially since the release, for those that know or care, of ChatGPT 5, I've started constructing a new game, which I think's got, I'm hoping if it comes out right, will be great fun. So the concept of it is a map of all the teams in League One, and a bit like Mario World. You start off, you choose your team. Obviously, we choose Argyle, and then you start off with where you want to go around the map to face the opposition fans as you try and defeat them to take over their stadium, effectively win the game, and then you go through each one to do that, and it gets harder. So these AI tools are getting insanely good, and GPT-5 should be able to help me construct this game from my crazy idea. And hopefully it comes off, because it does cause a little bit of fun and into pod rivalry, as well as Ninja Matt and a couple of others were trying to do their best in that game we had before as well. So other than that, everybody, just shy under 1,300 in right now across the channels. Thank you ever so much again. We really appreciate it. You can see there, check out the block9.co.uk or the block9.co.uk. You can find us on all the channels, very much active on X, obviously YouTube with the streams, and Blue Sky, Facebook, Instagram. It's a nightmare trying to manage all these things, but we have got accounts on all of those, so you can follow us equally ourselves. You've obviously got myself, the Crazy Pilgrim. You've got Andy, the Grumpy Loyal, and Gavin is One Job Lino on most of those, and also Carl, the Green Giant. We've also got Herbie Finley, who does PAFC News Hub, Paramedic Emma, and a few others we want to bring into these shows. If you know anybody that would like to get involved or is in any way associated with football, and it does stuff for the community in that sense, we'd love, as part of the live lounge on Thursday, to give some profile to those people and just learn about what everybody does with regards to football in the local community. So please give us a subscribe, like, follow, and all that jazz. But other than that, thank you very much for joining us on a tough day today with a defeat to Bolton. Schumacher's got us again, but we will come back and bounce back. You just wait and see, even if it might not be immediately. So Andy, any final words from yourself?
No, just keep believing in the process. I keep saying it, believe in the process. I think the clubs will get it right. We just got to give it time to bed in. Once we get that first win under our belts, then you see the confidence rise again, and hopefully things will be a lot better for us. So let's get that first win, next Saturday against Lincoln. That'd be good.
Yeah, and Gavin, any final thoughts from yourself?
Good night. There you go.
Tower cabs, right? Yeah, got you, Stephen.
That was
so. Yeah, it's as simple as that, folks. So thank you for joining. And those that are still traveling back, Shane, Carl, and anybody else, wherever you're going back to from the game, have a safe final leg. And yeah, we'll see what happens Tuesday. And the guys, but not myself, will see you on Thursday. Thanks, everybody.
Take care, guys.